Think about it. I mean, asking for a raise, making a new friend, it really often comes down to selling yourself, doesn't it?
It really does.
So today, we're diving into Arch Lustberg's book, Confidence: How to Sell Yourself.
Yeah,
We want to really unpack, the nuts and bolts of this.
that's right. And Lustberg's core idea is pretty straightforward. Effective communication. It hinges on conveying two main things: competence and likability.
Right.
And it's not about being fake, right? It's more about understanding the techniques that let your genuine self connect better.
Exactly. And it's funny, even with all our tech, face-to-face stuff still has so much power.
Oh, totally. A handshake, a real smile, actually looking someone in the eye.
Yeah, it carries weight. So our goal today is to pull out those practical strategies from Lustberg you can use, like right away, whether it's a big meeting or just wanting to sound more sure of yourself.
Okay, so let's get into those foundations. Competence and likability. Lustberg says these are like the non-negotiables. You need both.
And it's not just being competent or likable, is it? It's how people perceive you. That seems critical.
Precisely. That's the key distinction. It's about consciously sending the right signals so people recognize your knowledge and feel they can connect with you.
Hmm.
And here's something interesting he suggests doing this well. Projecting competence and likability, it can actually increase what we might call luck in communication.
Luck. How so?
Well, people are just more open, more receptive to people they perceive positively. Doors open a bit easier.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do we project competence authentically? What's the actionable stuff?
He emphasizes clarity. How competent you seem is really tied to how well you organize your thoughts and get your message across clearly.
Like organizing files on a computer.
Yeah, he uses that analogy. Your brain is the computer. You need the right program running, showing a clear message on the screen.
Got it. So you could be brilliant, but if you're rambling.
Exactly. Your competence might not land. People often stumble because there's no structure or they don't prioritize. That's where his first, second, third rule is so helpful.
Okay, break that down.
First, tell them what they want to know, what's top of mind for them.
Yeah.
Second, tell them what you think they need to know for the full picture. And third, just stop. Don't overdo it.
First, second, third. Simple. Effective. I like that. He uses that example of the DNA testimony in court, right? The dull one versus the one with charts.
Oh, yeah, that's a great illustration. The jury was lost in the details
Uh-huh.
until the lawyer presented the same info but organized with visuals. Suddenly, bang, they got the implications.
So competence isn't just knowing stuff, it's conveying it effectively. Makes total sense.
Precisely.
Okay, competence covered. Let's switch gears to likability. Equally vital, he says.
Yeah, and this is powerful. Lustberg argues people often favor those they like, even if they don't fully agree with the message itself.
Wow, think of that. You could disagree with someone, but if you generally like them.
Your reaction might be softer, less resistant. It really highlights how much we connect with the messenger, not just the message. And here's a really sort of heavy concept he brings up. Audiences tend to mirror the speaker's demeanor.
So if I look stressed, they feel stressed.
Pretty much. If you seem uncomfortable, disconnected, they'll likely feel that too. But if you project genuine warmth, engagement,
They respond in kind.
okay, they're much more likely to respond positively.
And the smile.
Mhm.
That plays a big role, obviously. But it has to be the right kind.
Absolutely. Authentic and appropriate, that's key.
Huh.
A forced smile or smiling at the wrong time, that can backfire badly.
Yeah, I can see that. He also talks about the three non-smiling faces, right? Closed, neutral, open.
Yes, and the subtle signals they send. A closed face, furrowed brow, maybe can signal stress, even anger.
Or just deep thought, maybe misinterpreted.
Could be, and a neutral face. Might just come across as disinterested or bored. Then there's the open face, often like slightly raised eyebrows. Lustberg connects this to showing more eye.
Showing more eye.
Yeah, he believes it signals openness, trustworthiness. Think about how you react to someone who avoids eye contact versus someone who looks at you openly.
Yeah, that resonates.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the hands.
Yeah.
The no-no position.
Yeah, yes. The fig leaf.
Right.
Hands jammed in pockets.
Guilty sometimes.
The military at ease stance and what he calls the female fig leaf, often hands clasped lower.
Why are these so bad for communication?
They tend to restrict your natural gestures. They make you look uncomfortable, maybe nervous or defensive. They're like physical barriers, really.
Okay, so what should we do with our hands? Where do they start?
It sounds almost too simple, but stand upright, relax your shoulders, and let your hands fall naturally at your sides.
Feels a bit weird at first, maybe.
It can. but it's the most open, neutral starting point.
Mhm.
From there, you can gesture, and the gestures need to feel genuine, connected to what you're saying.
Got it. Natural supportive gestures. And the voice, that's a huge part of likability, too. He links it to the face.
He does. He says, usually our voice reflects our face. He uses the good morning example.
Oh, yeah. Say good morning with a closed, tense face. Then neutral. Then open and smiling. The sound changes completely, right? Different emotions come through.
It's amazing how much is nonverbal. He also mentions the 3 vocal tools: volume, pitch, and rate.
Yes. And stress often makes us go monotone. Everything flattens out. But if you consciously relax your face, your body, your voice naturally gets more varied, more engaging.
Which leads to that living room voice idea. I like that analogy.
It's great, isn't it? Speak like you're talking to someone comfortably in your living room. Warm, conversational, not some stiff, artificial, professional voice.
Right, that can sound so distant.
Exactly. And varying your pitch and your speed. Much better for emphasis than just getting louder. It adds energy.
Okay, competence, likability. Now, confidence. That feels like the glue holding it all together.
For sure. Lustberg contrasts communication without confidence. You know, fear, stress, rambling with confident communication. That exudes control, comfort, positive energy.
Yeah. He shares that case study, the executive during the Tylenol crisis. It really shows how confidence, built through training, makes a massive difference under pressure.
A real-world pressure cooker. So what's the secret sauce for building that confidence, according to him?
It's surprisingly fundamental. It's diaphragmatic breathing.
Breathing.
Yeah, he calls it the secret key. It's how babies breathe naturally. It helps counteract those physical stress responses.
But it's not just take a deep breath like everyone says, is it?
Exactly. He debunks that.
Yeah.
That often leads to shallow chest breathing, which can actually make you more tense.
Right.
He stresses taking a diaphragmatic breath. Your diaphragm muscle pulls down, your belly expands outward as you inhale. You can feel it if you put your fingers on your stomach. Then it contracts as you exhale.
Okay, so belly out on the in-breath, in on the out-breath.
You got it. He gives exercises for it, lying down, standing up.
Practical stuff.
And he even says, use it consciously in everyday stress moments, like road rage, instead of fuming.
Take a diaphragmatic breath.
Yeah, but the first step is recognizing when you are stressed, being aware.
Mindfulness, almost. Aware of your state, then using the breath tool. Okay. Now, he talks a lot about selling with the right signals. Every little thing sends a message.
Totally. Your face, hands, voice, clothes, grooming, it's all constantly signaling something to your audience.
And that combo he mentioned, neutral face plus a no-no hand position.
Right. That can unintentionally signal you're uncomfortable or unhappy, even if you don't feel it intensely. The signals are just off.
And the military at ease stance. Sounds relaxing, but isn't.
Not in communication, no. Standing tall, shoulders relaxed, hands at the sides, that's much more open, more receptive as a starting point.
And watch out for fidgeting fingers.
Yeah, distracting movements. He suggests maybe a slight curl to the fingers, thumb angled a bit towards the audience. Avoid showing flat palm or back of the hand.
Okay, and gesturing is good, right?
Yeah.
As long as it's purposeful.
Yes, definitely. Move beyond that starting stance to punctuate, to visualize what you're saying. It adds dynamism. It's interesting what he says about TV, how restricted hands can lead to other weird movements.
Like head bobbing or shoulder twitches.
Yeah, because the energy has to go somewhere. He also mentions using a lectern for support. Fine, but don't death grip it. That screams nerves.
Right. Even how we sit matters.
Oh, absolutely. Lean slightly forward, shows interest. Knees kind of together. If you cross your legs, cross them downward, not away. Keep hands ready to gesture.
And spine away from the back of the chair.
Yeah, avoid slouching. That looks disengaged. Leaning way back or swiveling in the chair also signals you're not really tuned in.
Even as an audience member, at a head table maybe, good posture and an open face show, you're listening.
Exactly. You're participating non-verbally.
What about clothes, attire, grooming?
General rule, dress up a bit rather than down. But prioritize comfort. If you're uncomfortable in your clothes, it shows.
True. And jewelry.
Keep it relatively subdued in professional settings. Minimize distractions. Anything too flashy, too noisy. It pulls focus from your message. He tells that story about the gold bracelets during a fundraising training.
Becoming the main event.
Pretty much.
Okay, so we're aware of all these nonverbal signals, mind, face, body, voice. What about the actual words? Preparing and delivering them.
Keep it concise. Keep it simple. Attention spans are, well, what they are.
Cute.
Yeah. Write like you talk. Conversational sentences for the ear, not for, like, literary analysis.
And avoid jargon.
Please. Jargon, governmentese, legalese, insider acronyms. If your
Yeah.
audience doesn't get it immediately, you've lost them. He shows how to simplify a clunky sentence about air traffic control funding.
Makes it much clearer. And there's a technique for reading notes without looking like you're reading notes.
Yes, key rule. Mouth doesn't move while eyes are down. Look down, grab the line or phrase, look up at the audience, then speak.
Okay. How do you set up your notes for that?
Short sentences, maybe 2 lines max. Big font. Clear periods. Extra wide left margin. Double or triple space. Make it super easy to scan.
He even has a specific way to emphasize key phrases.
Yeah, look down just before the key phrase, then look right up at the audience, pause slightly, and deliver it with intention. Creates connection, highlights importance.
Nice. And telling a story beats reading a list any day.
Always. More engaging. He also says keep introductions brief, and maybe write your own bio for intros, make it compelling but concise.
Good tip. And obviously, edit, rehearse. Can't skip that.
Absolutely essential.
Okay.
And he lists speaker pointers, make eye contact around the room, look at panelists if you have them. Actually look at the speaker when they're talking, don't let your eyes wander, listen intently, maybe take a few notes, show engagement.
Okay, this is all great foundational stuff. But what about trickier situations?
Yeah.
Confrontation, media interviews. They seem way more common now.
He definitely addresses that, acknowledges the rise in confrontation, the incivility, the me focus.
Yeah.
He talks about the architecture of confrontation, how decent people can get aggressive in public forums. And it's uncomfortable for everyone, participants and observers.
Yeah, those loaded questions.
Mm-hmm.
We can accidentally use them ourselves sometimes.
Totally. So, key strategy when facing confrontation, don't get angry, don't get defensive, don't shout back.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, for sure. He tells that story about the fiery school closing meeting, shows how fast things escalate. The goal isn't usually to win over the angry person.
Who is it then?
The undecided audience, the listeners. Focus on them.
Okay. And he has 4 don'ts before you even speak.
Yeah. Don't start in park, reverse, or neutral. Basically, wait till your brain is in drive, engage fully before you open your mouth.
Makes sense? Take a beat.
And that beat, that silent pause after a tough question, super powerful.
How so?
It makes you look thoughtful, not reactive. It gives you a second to think.
And
And it can actually throw the questioner off balance a bit. Keep eye contact during the pause, though.
don't look away.
Ah!
Okay. Then there's reframing hostile questions. That sounds useful.
Very. Translate the hostile, loaded language into something neutral, objective. Then answer that question.
Example.
Like if someone asks, why are you killing and maiming people with your unsafe products?
Oof.
If you don't repeat killing and maiming, you might reframe it as, you're asking about our company's safety record. And then you address safety positively.
Don't repeat the negative. Got it.
Yeah. Avoid embedding their negative language in your denial. He mentions that creepy killer on the road news teaser shows how suggestion works.
Right. And what if you just plain don't know the answer?
Be honest. Say, I don't know, or I don't have that specific detail right now. But crucially, offer to follow up. I'll find out and get back to you.
Okay. And stay positive. Focus on what you do.
Yes. Like that Volvo exec on the Today Show example. Focus on positive actions, not just defending against negatives.
And even in tense moments, showing you care is important.
It is. He offers some lead-ins like, I understand why you feel that way, but warns against overusing any one phrase.
Like Clinton's, I feel your pain.
Yeah, it got worn out. Sometimes that silent pause with warm eye contact can convey empathy more genuinely than a stock phrase.
Makes sense. And language, keep it simple, clear, especially under pressure.
Absolutely. No pompous talk, no jargon, no buzzwords. He mentions George Tenet using simple, direct language in a high-stakes CIA negotiation. It works.
And aim for memorable answers, not just denials.
Yes, practice that. Use stories, analogies, examples, maybe a relevant quote. Make your point stick. He argues sound bites often happen because the communication was dull to begin with, not because they're inherently necessary.
Good storytelling wins, even in news interviews.
Definitely. He also makes a nice distinction between blowing your own horn, which is bad, and sharing things you're proud of, which is good. It's all in the style, the attitude, humility versus ego.
Simple, honest self-appraisal, I'm proud to tell you kind of thing.
Exactly. And for TV interviews, different settings, studio, street, office, remember the cameras change everything, even on home turf.
Right. Watch out for swiveling in those studio chairs.
Ah, yes. Distracting. And be ready for more aggressive questions in those stand-up interviews at news scenes.
Okay, so summing up winning media interviews, key principles.
Inform clearly. Be honest, be positive, avoid lots of don'ts and won'ts. Be simple, conversational, no jargon, be memorable stories, examples, be proud, share successes appropriately. Smile, open face, gesture naturally.
And crucially,
Don't get angry, don't take attacks personally.
and be aware of the common traps.
Yes. Prolonged silence trying to get you to ramble. Relentless repetition of a question, leading questions, pushing an agenda, scary what-if hypotheticals, trying to get you to place blame, the what really happened, insinuation, catching you off guard after that's a wrap, the clothesline of multiple questions at once, and citing unnamed sources like, it's been said. Be ready for those.
Wow, that is a comprehensive toolkit. This deep dive into Lustberg's work has been incredibly insightful. So boiling it all down, what's the absolute core takeaway?
I think it's that effective communication, this idea of selling yourself, isn't some mystical talent. It's really a set of learnable skills. It comes down to making conscious choices about your mind, your face, your body, your voice, all aimed at genuinely conveying competence and likability.
Absolutely. These are practical things anyone can work on, and they can make a real difference professionally and personally.
Totally. So maybe, just pick one or two things we talked about. Try applying them in your next conversation, your next meeting. See what happens.
Yeah, observe the difference. And here's a final thought to leave folks with. What if more of us consistently applied these principles? Focused on genuine connection, clarity, respect. How could that shift things, not just our own interactions, but maybe even the bigger conversations happening in society?
Makes you think, doesn't it? More
Yeah.
understanding, more connection. Definitely something worth aiming for.